welcome. Tonight, we're going to talk about the school, but not the scholastic end of it, but the athletic end of it. And from the day one, our athletic director impressed me when he corrected me and said, we don't have athletes, we have student athletes. Less than 1% of the kids will make a living out of their athletic ability. So he made sure that I understood that the athletics came after the academics. Let's start with an introduction.
Sure, you have a great memory, by the way. That was a dozen years ago. Peter Boucher, Director of Athletics for the high school and the middle school, and yeah, happy to be here. I appreciate you having me on.
So we're right in that first stage of the new high school.
Holding on, we're holding on.
Well, we're sitting here, it's the end of 2025, and we're planning on moving in September of 2030.
That would be amazing. That would
So
be,
it's pretty quick.
yes, that'll come fast, and it's good to have. I appreciate you sharing the date. It's important, I think, for people to know that we're there. You know, like we're just entering the really important phases right now.
Well, right now, we're in the feasibility stage, where we've put out to bid and closed on the design for feasibility. Well, not really design, but the feasibility study. Come spring, we'll know what the options are. It's still not a given we're going to a renovation,
Right.
but I think it's a 90% chance.
Yeah, from everything that I've heard, but again, I'll be honest with you, I don't hear much.
Well, but I mean, realistically, if you wanted to build a new school, the only place we have enough dirt that we own is Asylum Street.
Oh, okay, right.
Can you imagine that superhighway Route 140 supporting the traffic to the high
Yeah,
school?
no, good point.
The people in the university streets would be dying.
Yeah, that's the first I've heard that. I didn't know that.
And then, of course, if you live on the Medway side of Milford, you better leave the day before to get through the
Yeah.
traffic.
Right, good, yes, right. Yep.
So it's not official. The school building committee's still waiting for the feasibility options. But I'd say we're going to renovate.
All signs are pointing towards, okay, gotcha. Yep.
And there's still people holding out for the once-in-a-generation chance at a field house.
Yes, sir. Yes, I agree with you. Yep. We got one shot in what, 40, 50 years to do it
Well,
right?
it's
Really,
50
right?
years.
You know?
We just had our 50th reunion for the high school from 74.
Oh, yes, yeah. Yep. I heard about that a little bit. No, I agree with you. One thing I've always said since it's been 12, 13 years, is this town takes care of its kids ages 1 to 100. They take care of everybody. And we got one shot
Well, it
at doing
reminds
this.
me of back in the 70s, the early 70s, when the idea came out of a pool.
Yes, right.
And everybody kept saying, we don't need a third pool in Milford.
Yeah.
You know, what would we use an indoor swimming pool for?
Look at it now. Everybody I know, anybody I speak to in Milford, I learned to swim at community use at the pool, right? I mean, that's probably one of the greatest skills you can learn. My kids learned to swim here. It's
Well,
awesome.
that and you look at all the towns that want to come to the swim meets in Milford.
Yep, yes, yep.
I mean, I remember going to Wayside and other places which had beautiful facilities, but you didn't have any room to sit.
No, that's a really good point, too. My children both swim here, and we have the best seating capacity out of anybody that I know of. Easily in Massachusetts, maybe New England. We can fit 400 or 500 people up there. The next closest one, I think, is out in the Wellesley area, maybe 150 in that pool. Maybe 175 if you're really squeezing in. But no, you're right. People want to come here because they can watch. That's why people want to rent the pool a lot too. You know, we can host large meets.
How does Milford Swimming do?
Very well. Yep, good question. The last couple of years, we've been in the thick of it. The boys won the championship just a year ago. They won the league meet. They won the dual meet title. Really, in the teens, they did a nice job. There was multiple championships, boys and girls. This year, we have the largest two teams I've ever seen in my time. with Milford, and I think it's some of the largest teams they've ever had, which is really, really encouraging because since COVID, numbers have been down across the country. Girls' sports are down 43%, and that's a lot. 43% in this country since 2020. That's 1 million girls in this country. The boys are not as significant, but you can see it in some of our teams. Our football team was a little bit smaller the last year or two, and we're hoping the numbers are trending back up, just recovering from that.
That's a shame
craziness.
because a lot of kids rely on athletic
Yes,
scholarships.
yes, yeah.
And to see
Opening doors, right?
see the numbers go down means less kids have a chance of getting into different
Yeah.
schools.
Less kids are being active, and and what I would share with everyone is that it's not just Milford. It's every single town is down a little bit. Some of the schools that are a little bit more diverse are down a lot more. It's just you're looking at 20-30% decrease, but we're starting to creep back up right now in the winter. Not so much in the fall. We were kind of baseline from the last couple of years, but the winter we're seeing a jump. Wrestling is, they've got 55, 56 kids. Swim has 22 to 25 kids. Boys, 50 total on, for boys and girls. Basketball, we have a girls freshman team this year. We haven't had that in
We have a freshman team?
Yes, so all three teams, which with staggering numbers, right? In the Hockomock League, right? All powerful, competitive league. There's only 2 other schools in the league that have girls freshmen. It's not who we would think. Mansfield and Canton, and now Milford. 9 of the other 12 schools do not have enough girls. Think about that. Taunton and Franklin. Taunton has 2,500 kids in their school. They're not fielding a freshman team. Franklin has like 92% of their kids that participate in sports. They don't have enough to host a girls' freshman team. It's wild if you think about it, but we're getting there. We're holding
See,
on.
that's one of the advantages, when you say we got a strong swim team. It can't be a coincidence that we have a strong pool
You're right.
and strong facilities.
Absolutely symbiotic. It's connected 100%,
To look and say, what effect would a field house have?
Yes, that's brilliant. Yes.
You start saying you grow from years ago. We talked about the impossibility of having 8th grade teams. 8th grade athletic programs will never work.
Right.
Well,
We're 12 years in, and we have 12 fully functioning teams, and we've had fully functioning teams for over a decade. My first year in that spring, we added. I want to say we added spring track at the middle school. You're right. I totally agree.
and you start thinking about field hockey, lacrosse. Some of the kids who the first time they touched the sport was freshman year in high school.
Right.
And how could they compete equally with kids who have been doing it for years?
3rd and 4th grade, some other towns, where they to give our town credit, we have youth groups that are working on that. Like we now have a field hockey feeder program, which is great. But in the same token, we are playing catch up the way you're talking about. We are in certain sports. Lacrosse is still pretty new in this area. It's about 15 years old, at least at Milford. Where other parts of the country, you're talking like 70s and 80s, probably 80s. So it's like 40, 45 years old. So it's definitely different. But having a pool makes all the difference in the world. The kids bell rings, 2:25 by 2:45, they're in the pool. If you go to any other school in the league, and most of the schools in the area, they're swimming at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, right? So talk about
It's
participation.
like hockey.
Yes, right, exactly. When you have to rent a facility, or you're swimming at 6 or 7 at night, a lot of people don't want to do that. That's more of a hurdle to that type of sport, so it's helpful. So if we had a field house similar to that, we'd have more teams practicing right after school instead of having to stagger 3 to 5, 5 to 7.
Well, it's not just having multiple teams and multiple sports. You start saying you get a draw because kids can walk from class right into practice.
Yes. Yep, 100%. We're now, we're shuttling them, or we're having, they've got to get to another site after school. It's just another hurdle. We're in the 21st century. You'd like to have as few hurdles, if not 0, if you can. It's hard to keep kids engaged, and the ones that do want to participate, we want to have them locked in, walking right down the hall to the
Yeah,
athletic
and the
wing.
downside is the state won't subsidize
Yeah,
a field house.
doesn't make any sense to me. You know, they'll
Well,
only
they won't
subsidize.
subsidize a pool, they won't subsidize
No.
a field house. I think what's happened is, when you sit through the meetings, I was amazed that Milford was even considered when these other towns are talking about schools that are 80 years old, falling. I mean, our high school, we pick on it.
Yeah.
You know, she's old and she's not really what we want. You know, when we had the boiler go out,
Oh, right, yep.
but
Yep.
when we sat and listened to the pitches other towns were making,
Mm.
it was like, oh my God, our school is a panacea.
She's hung in there.
You know.
She gets up and answers the bell for sure.
But you sit there and say, this is the one chance we'll have for the next 50 years.
Yes, yeah, I agree with you.
You know,
Yeah.
because people forget, we have 5 major schools.
Yep.
Each school has to last 40 to 50 years.
Right,
So that way we're only doing a school every 10 years.
yeah,
This one coming up is the toughest of our fleet. This is the aircraft carrier.
right.
We did
Yes.
Brookside,
Mhm.
and we said we were going to need extra funds. We were going to have to tap the stabilization account. And we got lucky and managed our money. Our department heads were really good. And we never touched the money that we were going to
That's
use for
awesome.
Brookside.
That's great.
And that was 20 million, 19. Then it came to Woodland. Well, God almighty, $60 million, we're going to have to
Yeah.
hurt to stabilization. Well, we didn't have to, and we never
Wow.
touched it.
I'm telling you, this
But
town
this
does way
one-
better than other towns.
When you're talking about a high school of, I don't know what the number's going to be, but it's going to be close to $200-300 million.
Yeah, yep. That's the going rate these days.
We're going to have to use every financial tool we have. Now, it could be worse. There's a high school going up for a vote. They're talking $600
When you
million.
share, I mean, that's just astronomical. 600, 700, right? Somewhere, they're not sure yet. Wow. We'll take 250, 260, right? 300 if we have to. Wow, that's just.
So, you know, you turn around and say, even if we had to chip in $7 or $8 million to build a field house, that'll be there for the next 50 years.
Yes, yep.
There's a lot of people who are going to say the money's crazy, and it is. $200-300 million for a school, we don't know what the number is. We won't know till end of spring when the feasibility study's
Sure,
done,
sure, makes sense.
and we can evaluate it. But that kind of money, I mean, when we were kids, you could have bought Milford for $200 million.
Mhm.
They would have thrown in Hopedale and maybe Mendon.
Yes, yeah.
You know, the idea of a school, one building, you know.
Yeah, no, inflation, right? It's amazing what stuff costs now. Yeah, no, I would say, you know, if Northbridge and Shrewsbury and Hopkinton and all these other, you know, local schools can put in a field house, I'd have to say that Milford's at the forefront of all of them. And I think we probably can find a way to muster
And, you know,
that.
candidly, I don't care what they're doing. This is something for our kids.
No, agreed. I guess what I'm getting at is, you know, like I've said this before, this is the third district I've worked in my 35-year career. And I mean this when I say this. Other towns say they're sports towns.
Yeah.
We are a sports town. And and I've always said two things. Milford will build it, right? They'll get the people, they'll get the materials. I've learned in my time, and I say this to anybody new, anybody that's interviewing that's trying to come to Milford, you know, as a positive component of what we do in this town, or what you folks do, is Milford will build it if it's important for kids, or Milford will fund it. They'll find a way to get the money if you can demonstrate in an
And
intelligent
town
fashion.
meeting has never turned down projects for kids.
Correct.
You know, I mean, we growl, we
huge.
snarl, we complain about the money,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, we did Brookside.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we did Woodland.
Milford gets to the finish line. Other towns don't even get out of the blocks.
But
Really?
a lot of it, too, is the way the departments are managed. People are so excited about pointing out the flaws.
Mm-hmm. True.
But
True.
there was a profound statement made by Milford union, teachers union, when we went through in 2003, every town was hurting because state cut our
Oh, I remember
chapter
that.
70.
That was a tough year. Yeah.
And we saw that certain towns around us, the teachers were voting to delay their raises, which I never understood, because if I can't afford to pay your salary today with a raise, in a year, how am I gonna do it with a double raise?
Right, right. Where's that coming from?
And our teachers union came out and volunteered. This was not a FinCom idea.
Yeah.
The union came out and said, we will forego our raise this year if you make a commitment that all that money that would have gone to raises comes back to the school to save teachers. Talk about a commitment.
You can't beat that. That's legendary.
You know, if somebody was to tell me that a union is gonna give up benefits and money, I would have said, whatever your narcotics you're on, you should share them. But, you know,
Yes,
the
yeah.
years after that, we made up for it.
Right, right.
And we
But
didn't
they
ha-
trusted you guys. They trusted FinCom and they trusted
And we
the
didn't
folks.
have to. There was never a quid pro quo that you're gonna make up for it, but you felt a sense of obligation.
Right, right.
When we were in trouble, the union stepped up. When we got surpluses, time to pay back.
Right, right. No, but that's, I gotta be honest, and I always say this to the kids every year, a couple times a year, when I have the opportunity. Because folks that have maybe grown up here might not know. I know they appreciate, but they might not know that other towns aren't like this. This town has vision, this town has follow-through, this town has high expectations.
Well,
I love all of that.
The
I think
fact
it's
that
great.
we've not used profanity in any budgeting process, we haven't used those profane words called 2.5 override or debt exclusion,
I knew you were going somewhere, I wasn't sure where. You're
You
right,
know,
though, you're right.
tells you that for 16 straight years, we've done okay. I mean, every tax is too high.
Agreed.
Fun-
Right,
Just,
right.
it is. But on the other hand, compared to other towns around us, and that's why I get a kick when people say, oh, Milford this, Milford that. I said, yeah, Milford's terrible. Pick a town that you'd rather be in, and why aren't you moving?
Right, right? Makes sense to me.
You know, it's like the people who say the United States is such a terrible country to live in. Well, where does it say you have to live here?
Sure, yeah, you got choices.
You know,
It's
it's
the
the
land
same
of
in Milford.
opportunity,
If
right?
you don't
I agree with you.
like the town, there's plenty of towns around it. But on the other hand, we also have a responsibility, because when we go to spend, I go to spend a couple dollars on a cup of coffee. It's my dollars. I worked for them. I get to spend it the way I want. Before I spend $2 of taxpayers' money, I gotta think 3 times.
Right, right.
'Cause
It
the
has to be
people
the
who-
right decision.
Yeah, the people
Right.
who built Milford, a lot of them are living on Social Security.
Right.
And when you start seeing people living on 2-3 grand a month, I don't know how they stretch it
I
to
don't
do it.
either.
You know,
It's hard.
the average tax bill in Milford's way too high, for my opinion, but compared to every town around us, I mean, the average bill is under $7,000.
Okay, all right.
Seems, $6,800 seems like a huge number, but look any town around us and
Yeah, I was
people,
gonna say, it's,
you start seeing it's thousands of dollars more. So hopefully, we'll take a hard look at a field house and those little extras that will make the school a place that we want to have for 50 years.
yeah, no, I agree. Stuff that matters, that is gonna keep kids engaged, or it's gonna be good programming for, any age level, really, That school is open 6 AM to 10 PM.
Well, see, that's the thing, that it's not a high school. As much as we call it Milford High,
Right. It's the hub,
it's Milford
Right.
Community Center.
yes, yep,
You know, when we had to talk about emergency provisions, where would people go if we had a catastrophic event?
yes, yep, that's where they're going.
They'll go there and rely on Carla to feed them.
Yeah, yes, she'll get it done too.
Of course. And it'll be good food. So,
For
so
sure.
football.
Yeah, yep. Football had another good run. Made the playoffs. You know, I got to be honest. We had some really challenging injuries this year. At one point, we had we had two or three of probably, some of our really heavy hitters on the team were all out at the same time. But what really impressed me with this squad was just their toughness. We won some games probably, not probably, I would say almost assuredly on grit and not just skill. I mean,
But we
you
made
know.
the playoffs in the Hockomock League.
Yes, so we, coming out of the Hockomock League, we got into the playoffs for the whole state, so.
But I'm just saying, we made a decision years ago to move into the Hockomock League.
Yes, yeah, a couple years before I arrived, I think 2 years
And
before I got
people
here.
were saying, why are we doing this? It's such a tougher league.
Yeah,
Can't we take it a little easier? Now, you've been here over a decade.
yes, yep.
Was it the right decision to move up?
I think for the mentality of Milford, it was a really good decision, right? This town, remember, I played against this town when I was in high school. This town likes to fight, and I mean that in a very athletic way, right? Like, this town is tough. Doesn't matter what and that's what, I joke, I was born at Milford Hospital, I couldn't wait to come home, right? I think if you, I've always had the mentality growing up, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. If you want to be the best, the Hockomock League is the most competitive, depth-wise, right? Depth in New England. The third team in the Hockomock. So this is how I would say it. The 1, 2, and 3 in this league, pretty much the same in the Bay State, the Tri-Valley for sure. All those teams would really compete really hard.
But do you have a lower level?
Well, here's the problem, right? So if you take some of the other leagues, once you get past third, 4, 5, 6, they're like mediocre.
Right.
Then 7, 8, 9, 10 drop. Guess what? You play the 10th team or the 11th team in this league as every team that we have, every team sport, soccer, football, lacrosse, swimming, doesn't matter. The third team, the 10th team can knock off the second or the third. It's like the NFL. I call it the NFL of high school sports. So there's this depth where you got to be ready to go every single meet, match, or game, and there's no layups, there's no bunnies really. So, for the folks that want to compete and want to really celebrate championships, this is the league. This is the league to do that. I'm saying this on the cold hard reality is most other leagues don't want us anymore because what we've done is we've acclimated to the Hockomock League, right? So our teams that are good are that good. So the other leagues are like, yeah, we don't have room. We're good, So we are where we are. We're going to be here for a while because it's just we've made our own bed, and now we got.
But now the advantage, let's face it, if you played in a lower league,
Yeah.
you're the athletic director.
Yes.
Having all your teams doing super well
Yeah.
is a feather in your cap.
It is. It looks good. It looks good. But then folks like, folks who really know athletics, you can, how do you say this politely? We get asked, I'll put it in this fashion because I don't want to, I want to be polite. We get asked by the MIA to host a lot of playoffs that Milford's not in. They want us for a neutral site. I can honestly say to you that they checked in about a month before the playoffs started and they said, will you do volleyball? Will you do soccer? Will you do football? You can call them. You're the best site. You guys have the best event staff. You guys, they send crews to us to watch us because our event staff is so good, but our facilities are amazing, right? You got the turf, you got the track, you got this gym floor. It's like a fighting pit in that gym. It's awesome, and we get 2 exits off 495. So we're a great facility. We're a great destination, and we've hosted some games where you watch it and you go, I can't believe these 2 teams are in the playoffs. I'm being honest, right? Like, if you would take any of our teams and drop them into some of these lower divisions, and you're like, this wouldn't even be, it wouldn't be fun to watch. It just, I hope I'm coming across politely and respectfully, but we're in the big leagues. Our kids know it, and we've embraced it. Like, I've told some of our teams that in the past couple of years, I've said to our girls basketball and our girls volleyball, and I'm saying it on camera because I've been in the locker room saying to them, hey, you know what? We might not have a great record in this league, but they win all their non-leagues. We're not a bad team. We're just in the toughest league in New England. You guys, you gals are a good team, and I think hopefully that makes them feel better because they're hardworking, they're athletic. It's just when you're playing towns that are, I mean, look at the Super Bowl. We had 3 or 4 teams just from this league in the Super Bowl. You look at almost every division that the Hockomock is in, and you'll see that there's at least one team in the finals and probably 2 or 3 in the Final Four and 5 or 6 in the Elite Eight. When I was looking at the Elite Eight for boys soccer, you were inevitably going to run into other people. Sweet 16 was loaded with soccer, boys and girls from this league. We cannibalize each other, but iron sharpens iron. You know, we embrace it because this is where we are, and this is probably where we're going to be for a long time. So we push the competitiveness.
I mean, having the attitude that you got to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Yeah, yep.
Sets a tone.
I think so.
Looking at, okay, we did well in the Hockomock games. How did we do in the non-Hockomock games?
We run the table most of the time.
And that's, to me, that tells you right there.
Yeah, you know, like we step outside of the league, you win at easily 75% of your games. Some of them, 85 to 100%. It's just you're beating people up in other leagues, and that's because you're just every time you play in this league, it doesn't matter who you play, you got to be ready to go.
Now, that's got to translate into a positive reaction with the scouts and the colleges.
100%, yes. That's a great observation. You know, we talk about that. We talk about, you know, we have always, and again, I don't take any credit for this. This is folks like yourself, the Chappies, all the folks that, you know, just got, you know, inducted into the Hall of Fame all the way back. These folks forged this attitude, right? But we are 3 to 3.5, sometimes 4 times the national average of kids that get into the NCAA. The neighboring towns don't have that. We probably should have 5 or 6 kids. That's the national average. If you're at the higher end, 5%, like, because we graduate about 100 seniors, give or take a couple every
Yeah, but we're
year.
averaging, what, 20?
Yes, yep, that are
And I
getting
mean,
on
again,
rosters.
it's not that we're looking to get these kids into college sports to make the NFL.
Right, right,
But a lot of these kids need the scholarships.
yes. And they need, you know, or it matches up to a school that maybe was a step above academically, but athletically and academically, they're a good package for that school, so doors open. You're 100% correct.
Well, I mean, I started looking, and I remember I was totally amazed when I was at college, because my parents were making big bucks. My mother
Mine too.
worked as a drill press operator at
Yeah, yeah.
Draper, making $11,000 a year. My father, he made the big money for the family at $18,000 at General Motors.
Yeah, yep.
So how they paid the $6,200 a year for Holy Cross, I never understood. But it was that attitude
But
that
they got it done.
it's a goal, we're going to somehow figure it out. And now you start saying, Holy Cross this year is almost $90,000.
Yeah, it's wild.
Even somebody making real money,
That's still a lot of money.
90,000
4 years.
4 years in a row.
Right?
So if you're not getting, and academic scholarships are getting harder and harder.
Yes, yeah.
So giving them the opportunities of getting an athletic scholarship.
It's a
really,
big deal. It's a big deal. And what's even nice is, even if we get kids that get into the smaller schools, that get on the roster, usually by sophomore, junior year, they've carved themselves into a larger scholarship pool because the coaches get them, and they're like, we can't let
We
this
can't
kid go.
let them go away.
Yeah, because we know, like, these are tough kids. They're hard working. They're gonna be there when we need them in these critical games. It's fun. That part of it's been really
And
fun.
there's a lot of credit that goes to the Milford coaches,
Yes, yes.
not just for their ability to teach the kids, but how to play the sport, but the attitude.
Absolutely. It's expectations and accountability. It's, you know, everybody's heard, we
I
all say.
remember when I was coaching soccer, I had a long talk with a father, and his daughter played well, but when he was there was an extra spring in her step.
Yes, yes, yep.
And I went to him and I said, you know, you must be really wealthy. He said, what do you mean? I
know
said,
where you're
because
going
your
with this.
daughter plays so much better when you're here.
Yes.
When you're here, she's playing at a level that when she gets to high school and college, she could get a college scholarship.
Yes, yeah.
So if you're not showing up for games, she's not playing at the
Costing
level.
yourself money.
So you giving up, back then it was, 40 grand a year. So you giving up $40,000
Yeah.
a year,
Yes.
you must be really, really wealthy. And I could see the light bulb go up,
I
and
have
he
a
showed
feeling
up
he
for
showed
every
up. I
game.
was just going to say, I
He
bet
showed
he
up
made a
for
bunch
every
of games
game after that.
Of course he did. That was good feedback. Yeah. No, the coaches work hard. It is so much different than it was even 10 or 15 years ago. The scouting that you have to do, the amount of intellectual component to what these kids that play now are so much smarter and so much more skilled. Like, I wrestled, played soccer, ran in high school. The acumen that these kids have, and
Well, they almost have to be when you start thinking
it's
about
unbelievable.
$100,000 a year to go to a college.
Yeah,
And it's not just the Holy Cross, it's BC,
yeah.
it's Northeastern, it's all these schools are in
All
the
of them
high
are in the
80s
80s
to,
or 90s. Yeah.
and you sit there and say, it's a business.
Didn't they say Wellesley was the first school in over 100? I think so. It just it's incredible.
But when you
And-
start saying they were the first student bills that broke 100, but everybody else was 90, 92.
Right
90.
there, they don't want to get to that number. They're trying to stay
they're
away from it.
fighting that $100,000,
Yeah.
but 95.
It's the same thing, right? It's all, when it comes to, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and it's a huge investment for 4 years. But no, we're happy. It's this town's mentality, and the coaches have adopted it. The kids adopt it, and we always talk about that when we do these NCAA celebrations, when we do these signings, and we bring the families in and the friends in. We try to make it really fun. It's one of the coolest things I get to do in my job is just to be able to introduce the kids, because I always know them. You can share a couple of stories when they were a freshman or eighth grader and how they've grown, and
So do we know what football students are being offered scholarships already?
Yes, we've trying to think. We've done a couple of most of those signings will come out in January or February. And it's funny. That's a good point. A lot of our sports have particular signing periods where some of our guys. It's interesting where they want to do signings with their teammates. So we'll do 3 or 4 at a time. Like we'll do football in one afternoon, and we'll do the 3 or 4 guys that want to sign together. We've done as many as like 6 kids from one sport. I mean,
Wow.
to send that, to move all those kids on, but all at one time, because that's their family, and they want to celebrate all together. It's
And
cool.
you got to believe that some of those kids got into better schools because of the scholarships.
100%. Yes. Yep.
I won't say they got to college because of the scholarship,
Yes. Right. Right.
but they got more choices, and
Doors open.
it
When you're
amazes
talented,
me
doors open.
because when I went to school, I had to put all my time and effort just to do the academics.
Right.
The discipline that these kids learn in high school in Milford sports to do a 40-hour-a-week job in athletics
Right.
plus academics
Yep.
amazes me.
We always say to them, you got to do your day job if you want to do your afternoon job. So you got to get good grades. You got to be passing, and we'd like you to be up here and not just passing.
So we
depending on-
have 6 kids that are getting offers from college.
Right, so right now, football's at 4, and I think by the time we're done, that we'll be in the 6 range.
But statistically, that's still above what we should expect.
We're out kicking our coverage big time, yes, yeah, yep.
And
yeah.
our Thanksgiving Day game, we scored a couple points.
Gosh, I love those guys. They asked me to come in, and the seniors asked me to talk to. I had such a good time. I love doing it, because every once in a while, when you get to know a group of kids really well, they'll say, hey, will you come in and do a speech real quick? We know you can get a little crazy, So they asked me if I would talk to them before the seniors did before the thing. It was an honor to do that. And it should have, on paper, because we had most of our guys back. The injured guys were back for the most part, except for one really, Joey wasn't back. And Taunton was healthy. They had some really good games. They had a good record. We had a good record. It should have been an absolute war. And we had to call the dogs off in the fourth quarter. We had 53 points on the board. And I swear, I promise you, we probably, because I always go over to the coaches and say, hey, are we,
If you'd kept the first
done?
line, if you'd kept the first
Yes.
line in, it would have been 70.
yeah, I think we would have hit 70. I do. Yep. And, you always want to be respectful. You know this in coaching. You never, if you like the other town, not like, but if you respect them, you don't want to embarrass them. And 53 was, even our second
No,
stringers were
because
scoring.
someday
Yes, that's
you
exactly.
could be on the other end of that
yes,
stick.
yes.
Plus, let's face it,
You don't want to be on
putting
that.
in your second and third stringers,
Yeah,
getting them minutes on the field.
and we did. We were happy to do that, and we were still scoring. The second stringers were getting. So it was just, and the other team knows that when you put in your other kids, and they're still, scoring some points, they can't get upset with you, and they didn't. It was nice because we
Yeah.
did the trophies at the end, and that was a fun day. That was, I think that's our 7th meeting with them. It's our 7th W.
And Miss Heather with the girls, they did okay again, didn't they?
Man, talk about iron sharpens iron, right? You're 100% correct. State champions, again, she's just so funny because we barely take the banners down to put the new number on, and sometimes we don't get them back up. We got to bring them, I got to keep them and bring them back to the company to put on the winter banner, on the fall banner. Yeah, they're state champ. I love, and those gals are great too. It's what's really fun about my job is you have the sort of the academic component during the day and the finances and the scheduling, but the second half of the day is when the bell rings and you get to go out and see the kids and the coaches and observe practices and see where you can help and whatnot. I love going up to the cheer and just, cause they're just always fun. The great group of girls this year, young and old, young and veteran, and they had injuries, and they somehow found a way not to win like a league championship, a divisional. They won the state championship, and that's a credit to the coaching, right, our veteran, but the girls especially, just deciding that we're going to win no matter what. It's the name on the front and not the name on the back, and that's what we say to the kids. It's the M that matters,
Well, Heather always amazed me because she got away with things that if I ever tried,
You might get it.
come the fall, it's getting dark,
Yeah.
we're down at the Pheno Field Annex, and Heather's not done. Well, it's kind of hard to practice in the dark with no lights.
It is. It's a little.
So she had us line up our cars and turn on our high beams.
Yes, these are legend. Yes,
And he sat there and said, I don't know of any other coach
that would.
who would do it, number one.
Right. Yes, and
But
then
two,
we get
get
away
away-
with it. Yes. Yep. Yes.
But it was like, okay, Heather said, I need more time. Line up the cars.
Yep.
And somehow it was Pavlovian. We all knew how to line up the
Can't
cars.
say no. Right?
You didn't want to.
No.
You knew what she was trying to get done.
Yeah.
And at the end of the tournaments and all, it showed.
There's something special about that with, a night like that, or, even when we get these rainy conditions. What I love about this league now is that they don't even call us if it's raining. We'll talk at AD meetings and they'll go, don't call them and don't call them. And it's both red schools, North Attleboro, Milford. We don't cancel. If it's 12 degree, whatever, we're going to play. If it's at our home and it's our.
Well, and again, some of it is our facilities.
Exactly. And there are some schools that have turf that will still cancel or postpone if it's in the rain. But what I love is they'll say, hey, we're playing soccer, football, lacrosse, field, anything that's on the turf, Pete, we don't even call you. We know, just send the buses. We're not even bothering. But that's a mentality. And I always say to the kids, like, hey, this sucks right now. It's 27 degrees, it's raining. But in a couple of weeks, this will be a legendary story. In a couple of years, this will be a story that you're telling your kids about, that you went out and played when other teams might not have. But we like that toughness. We embrace that. We encourage it, I think it's good life skills,
I think it's an
Compete.
attitude. It's
Yes.
something that you build up saying, anybody can make an excuse. We're not here in Milford to make
No,
excuses.
it's culture, right,
Get the job done.
That's it. It's next person up, right?
And you start looking at the old Patriots coach who just said, simple, do your job.
Do your job. And next guy up, right?
Your
Somebody
job
gets
is
hurt, you
not to
got-
complain and not to
Somebody's got to
whine.
fill in. That's it. It's not going to help. And I think as a coach too, and as a competitor, the minute you open the door to possibly having a reason not to compete or not to win, human nature usually kicks in and says, You know, Eeyore comes in. We don't
Yeah.
let Eeyore in the house. Eeyore doesn't get to come in. You know, it's always, hey, we practice, plan, and play to win. That's what we do. And you folks have been doing that since
Well, you
the
said
dawn
it
of
years
time.
ago where you said we practice hard to win easy.
Easy. That's it. Yeah. You're right. I say that. It should be. You know what? Everybody wants to win on game day, whether it's a race, a meet, a match, or a game. Right? Everybody wants to win on that day.
But you don't win on game
That's
day.
it, exactly.
You implement on game day.
Exactly.
You
If you
win
practiced,
on practice days.
right, days, weeks, months, and for some of these kids, it's years it took you to get where we are, right? Wrestling, 3 state championships in 4 years, 5, 6 league championships in a
Do
row.
people understand there's 300 cities and towns in Massachusetts?
There's 400 high schools now. To be a state champion,
You have to be the best of 400 schools.
it's wild, right? Like it's raise the bar, right? Like and then meet kids where they are, and then bring them to the bar. That's what we try to do.
And those lessons will carry through in college and in life.
Yes, right. Well, you know, I say to people, and people, you know, I've been saying it for years. I think it's a going joke, but I mean it. Nobody wants to get second place in a job interview, right? Nobody drives to the end of the parking lot in Target and says, I'll walk as far as I can. You compete in little small
Well,
pockets all the
there was
time.
an old saying that I remember it in track. If you're not first, the view is always the same.
Yeah, yes, yep. Second, fifth, 10th, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You're looking at the back end of
Somebody
people in front of you.
Yes, yeah. There's always somebody in front of you. So why not be?
How did
blazing
soccer do?
Both soccer teams did well. We were really excited. The girls got back into the tournament this year after
great.
a 6 or 7 year hiatus. Yep, they won their first round. That was a blast. Got into this, and again, second round. Who do we match up against? Hockomock team, Mansfield. We're on the road. They battled hard. Things didn't fall our way, but I was proud of those girls. That was another season where we just had injury after injury, and I have to say, I don't like saying this, but I'll say it now. After the season is over, if we had been healthy the whole year, the whole season, would have been. I convinced it would have been a different. We would have definitely went deeper into the playoffs for sure. But I'm proud of the coaches. I'm proud of the kids. They did what they had to do to get into the tournament. They won the first round. They competed in the second round. They did really well. The girls really, I think they maximized everything they had. Boys, Elite Eight again. You know, I got to say. So they won their first 2 rounds. We match up against Holliston down the road. They're a perennially strong team like we are. I will tell you, 12 years of being an AD here, coaching for a long time, being a college AD for a couple years, that game ranks like maybe top 3 out of the hundreds, probably over 1,000 games I've ever seen. We went into quadruple overtime for the boys. If there wasn't a shootout, which we get into the second round of the shootout, which never happens because we played the 2 overtime periods, and when you know soccer, you know a lot of sports, but I know you know soccer really well. So the third overtime is you got to go to PK because they don't want anybody getting hurt
Right.
from playing.
The problem is you hate going
Yes.
to PKs.
It's
It's like
awful.
finishing a basketball tournament with free throws.
Yeah, it's a horrible way to finish it, but I think when you've played so long on the field, you get to a point where we're going to be here for a couple of days
Yeah,
because
the
nobody's
problem
giving
is people
in.
get too tired.
Yes, somebody
and
gets
these,
hurt.
These athletes are not going to back off.
No, nope.
So they're going to sprain something. They're going to tear something.
Fatigue sets in, mental, physical, but I promise you, like, so we get into the 2 overtimes. First overtime of PKs, we're still tied second, which is really the 4th overtime, and we missed by 1. And it is what it is,
Well, PKs by definition, if you implement your PKs right, you should score 80% of
yes,
the times.
yeah. You're looking for the goalie to guess right once or twice.
Well, that's once. Because
Right.
as a goalie, I got 5 places to go.
That's it.
You know, and it's amazing when I watched some of the National Women's Soccer League games that the goalies would stop 3 PKs.
Yes.
It's
How is that
unheard of.
possible?
You know, because unless the shooter misses, they've got
Yes,
5 places to place the ball to score,
they got to guess right
and
once.
the goalie's got to guess one time.
Yes, yep, and that's what happened. And it is what it is. But I will say this, that stadium was full of Holliston and Milford people. And, of course, we're upset. They're celebrating. They didn't over-celebrate. I think everybody it was just kind of, the dust was settling, and it was a very chippy game, but the boys from both teams started hugging. I think everybody understood it was like Ali Frazier. You would just watch this heavyweight
When
battle.
you can walk away from a game, you want to be the winner.
Yeah,
But the second best is to respect the other team.
yes. And here was the coolest thing for me, and I'm nominating Holliston for the Sportsmanship Award. So we got to leave. We got to go. We're all warmed down. We've broken, and their fans are waiting for them. We got to walk out to their fans, right? We're going. We're not, we're proud of what we did. We walk out, and then that becomes. It gives me chills thinking about it right now because nobody said anything negative. They're cheering for us, for our guys, because they recognize what they just saw. So I went over to their AD and I said, do you mind if I talk to your crowd real quick? And he goes, what did they do? I said, nothing bad. I just want to talk to them. He goes, yeah, come on over. So I just said to them, I said, I've never seen anything like this in my entire career. I said, I'm going to nominate you guys for the Sportsmanship Award, and boys, and I did, and I hope they get it. And 2 or 3 of the moms grabbed me, and they said, we feel bad that you guys don't get to move on. We're happy that we are, but your team is so bleeping good that we wish this was the state championship. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was really, really fun. I wish we had won, but I'm proud of those guys too. They got nothing to hang their heads about at all. Coaches, kids, they work hard.
What's the next sport that comes to your mind?
Oh boy, you know what? I would say I would probably jump into the winter, and we've just transitioned wrestling.
Wrestling hasn't done too bad over the last 3,
Good
4
Lord.
years.
3 out of 4 years state champ, and the year that we didn't win state championship, we lost by 2 points. I mean, are you kidding me? 7 sectional championships, at least 5 league championships. I mean, it's just, and the numbers are growing.
But towns dream of having a state championship
One.
once.
Yes, yep.
We've done it 3 out of 4 times.
Yes, yep. And who knows what'll happen this year? That's all I'll say. Come watch. When we're playing at home, I would say come watch. I'd say that about all of our teams. Swim's going to be fun to watch. Girls and boys basketball are going to be fun. Both teams are so athletic. The girls, they had a scrimmage the other day, up and down the floor. I mean, they were waiting under the basket for the other team to catch up. It was wild. Just so fast.
Did I hear we have a dunker?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I know it's trivial, but
It's not though. You're right. So we had an away scrimmage on Saturday, and the opposing AD sent me a video. Manny, I love Manny. Manny's a junior. He's so talented, and he's a nice young man. That's what I like about him the most. He's respectful, but I guess he had just a wild dunk that the other team and the other fans would cheer. When the other side is cheering for you,
yeah.
you have to know you did something spectacular. So I'm excited to see him at home. Come see us. This is the season to come out. Come see us. Boys, girls basketball. Come see hockey. Hockey's going to be good.
Now, hockey's always been the redheaded stepchild.
Hockey's won a couple championships the last couple of years
But
too.
Do we have 2 lines of people anymore?
I will tell you that we sent to the co-op. I think we're at 20 or 21 boys.
Because it used to be that if you could get 2 full lines,
Yes, I know.
we had to go and do a Milford Hope
Yeah,
deal.
there's going to be a JV team this year. It's going to be fun.
Really?
Yes, yeah, we're excited. Yeah, yep. Swimming is loaded. Biggest teams we've had, maybe at least 15 years. 22, 23 kids on each side. We're excited. What's exciting for me is we're returning to pre-COVID numbers. COVID really, really impacted so many people. But what I'll say, I'm on one national committee that's kind of watching this and trying to.
Why is that?
You know what? Can I be honest? What we're finding, it's a couple of things. Great question. A lot of kids checked out, right? Because we didn't have sports in the spring. Winter was kind of tough, and I think kids just checked out and didn't check back in. And I think the entire country, this is just my own personal / professional opinion, I think people realize that I can get by on a lot less effort. And I don't have to maybe work as hard to do the things that I was doing before or to be as successful, or I don't have to be as successful. And as athletic people, competitive people, we hate that. But we're hoping that it's creeping back up. I think I was sharing with you that since COVID, 43% of the, not 13, 43%, almost 50% of the females
Of
in
the
this country
girls.
checked out of sports and it didn't come back. That's horrible. It's not just Milford. That's coast to coast, LA to Boston. And, we're trying, community youth working, we're all working together, our youth sports trying to get kids back in. But kids are impatient now. One of the things we're noticing on both sides is if kids don't make varsity as a freshman, they quit. That's a national epidemic. We don't encourage that. Wait your time,
Well,
wait your,
Whether it's college or high school, you got to put time into your academics.
absolutely, absolutely.
And then you got a second full-time job,
In the afternoon,
because
yeah.
you take something like football, how many hours a week do they
Oh, my
practice?
gosh. So you're looking at least 12, 13, 14 hours of practice, but now they gotta learn the playbook, they gotta watch film,
So
because
it's 12, 13 hours of direct.
physical, I'd say 20 to 25, easy. Easy.
That's a lot of
It's
effort.
a lot of time. That's just athletics. We'll call it 25 hours a week. That's beyond a part-time job.
And then you've got your school, your
Yeah.
academics to keep up.
Yep. That's a couple hours a night of
Because we've
homework.
always admired the fact that you bring home student athletes.
Yes, I appreciate you. Yeah, no, because that's, as a former principal, former teacher, that's the thing. Like, you got to do your day job really well if you want to have the opportunity to do
Well,
the
I mean,
afternoon job.
When you figure that 0.1% of high school athletes
It's wild.
make a living out of sports.
Yeah, most kids. You know what it does? College, what it does is it extends your career another couple of years, and maybe from there you can go on to do something else. But one of the things I always say to kids when they're looking at colleges is I said, you got to go somewhere that has your major. Don't just go for sports. It's got to have your major. It's got to feel like home, and you got to remember, you're one injury away from just being a student.
Yep.
Right? The time's gonna come at some point for most of 99.9% of us, we're done,
But
right?
even if you don't suffer that injury,
Yeah,
99% are going to finish at college.
gotta go to work.
And when I look at the NBA and they keep 25 new players a year
Yeah,
in the country.
yeah,
I look at the U.S. national team, and there's 16 players in the country over 3 or 4 years.
I mean, the numbers aren't good. I wouldn't bet on those numbers. So it's important to use that athletic component as leverage, as a springboard to get yourself, whatever you can do with that to get a better education, that's what we preach. That's really what we're trying to talk about.
Who are we leaving out? I mean, I'm amazed at hockey. You're saying we now have full hockey schedule.
Yeah, oh yeah, yep. And we're still in the co-op right now, but it's booming, absolutely booming this year, which is great.
Yeah, but in the co-op, we were lucky to get 12 kids.
You're right, yeah, that's
Yeah.
been our average. Yeah, 12.
Years ago, we
We're at 20 now.
were at 20 kids. That's amazing.
That was our own team, so we'll see where that goes. Swimming's gonna be fun to watch, cheer's gonna be fun to watch, right? Like, come to our competitions. Come to the games, but come to their competitions on the weekends. Indoor track is going to be in Boston. Those numbers are creeping up. The girls' numbers getting up to where we want it. The boys, we still gotta add some kids. We're hoping we do that over the next couple of days.
So if I want to compete in indoor track, I got to drive to Boston.
You gotta get on the bus to Boston.
It's a-
Once a week, yeah. We practice mostly outside because we don't have that indoor field house, that
If
facility.
we
to
had a
keep kids-
field house,
We'd keep all of our kids inside, which would be amazing. Today was cold. Even I ran on the treadmill today. I didn't run outside today. I'm getting a little more sensitive in my old age. We have girls' hockey. That's been resurrected. It's been
Is that
4 or 5
right?
years since so we have a couple of gals that are playing in the Hockomock Co-op. I'm looking forward to go watch them play.
and see, that amazes me because I don't know the exact statistics, but if I had a daughter who I needed to get a scholarship,
That's the sport.
girls hockey's the sport to pick.
Still is, yep,
Because it used to be the highest percentage chance
Yeah.
you had.
yep. Everything else has gotten more competitive. Hockey's gotten more competitive too, but it's still probably the best open door out there. Yeah, for sure. Trying to think as far as, we have a wrestling quad this coming weekend. Yeah, I would say jump on the website, look at our schedule. This is gonna be a fun winter season to come watch some athletic kids flying around the pool, the gym, the track, the wrestling mat, all the mats. Come out and watch us. It's gonna be fun. We're really looking forward to breaking camp in a couple
And we're
days.
going lower and lower. I mean, we're starting to do the feeding system. I remember when
Yes,
the most complicated sport I've ever seen is girls field hockey.
yes,
I couldn't remember. Tweet.
yes. I still don't know every rule. That'd be the hard, like I could step in and coach for a couple of days if a coach, and I have, if a coach gets sick. Field hockey would be the one I would say, I'm gonna need some help during the game. I'm gonna
Yeah,
need
just
some
to
help 'cause
understand what the tweets are.
Yes, because it's all, a lot of it's subjective.
But
And
again,
people don't argue with the refs.
I felt bad for our girls stepping into freshman year, picking up a hockey stick for
Yeah.
the first time,
Yeah,
competing against girls who've been there for years. But my understanding is we're pushing it further and further down.
yes, we are. Yep, we are. We've got the 12 sports at Stacy, right? We're ready to launch a field hockey, a middle school, if we can get the numbers. Each year, we creep a little bit closer. We work really hard to fill those middle school schedules.
But 12 sports at middle school,
It's great, like,
or junior high, whatever you want to call it.
yeah, 5 in the fall, 2 in the winter, 5 in the spring. It's powerful, it's really helpful, we appreciate the support, and the kids love it, right?
And now
Kids
we're
love it.
getting more and more televised games. So even the parents who can't make it out.
Yes, yep, and Milford TV does an amazing job getting to our home games. Sometimes they'll go on the road during the playoffs. We're trying to break into the huddle world, where we, thankfully, the school committee and the folks out there watching, they support that initiative. Every town, every team that, every football, everybody that plays on the turf has to have huddle, HUDL. You can move, you have to upload your videos of so many games a year, it's an agreement. But you can live stream that, and we're working on our way to be able to do that for people, so.
Well, we appreciate everything you've done. We love the success that the kids have had, not just in athletics, but in life afterwards.
Yeah.
So
For
thank
sure.
you.
Appreciate everything you're doing too, and everybody out there, we appreciate the support.
And to our 6 loyal viewers, may God bless, may tomorrow be a better day than today. Get out and watch some of the Milford sports teams, because they're our kids. Thanks for joining us.
Not too long since I've been home. Been running all my life just searching for my soul.